Welcome, everybody. I'm Alfred Lambremont Webre. It's a great privilege today to be with Chief Scientist of C60Evo.com, ChrisBurres, and CEO uh, uh, PattyGreer. And I'm sorry, I can't remember your married name, but
You don't need to.
Okay.
I think you stuttered over Greer because we were talking about, are you related to Stephen Greer before the show? And
Yeah.
you wonder, the answer is no.
Yeah.
He's not my grandfather, and he's not my dad either.
Oh, okay. Well, I came up with a slogan. I don't know whether it's original or not, but it's what I think about it. It's how C60 Evo helps me do wonders and stay safe. And these days in Canada, you really need it. Let me tell you, I don't know how things are there south of the border, but here things are starting to get pretty dicey.
I've been watching, and I am totally amazed. And on that note, I am so proud to tell you that I just had a conversation with one of our newest influencers, and you're going to love this. Your lawyer for the truckers, Lee Dundas, has joined C60 Evo.
Oh, that is wonderful. Well, that must give them the superpowers because I know that I'm not a scientist, and I'm a journalist and a 5-planet Gemini, so I may be prone to exaggeration. But C60 carbon 60, I do believe, is what would be classified as a superfood because it does increase your focus. It increases your various aspects, your memory, I do believe, and even your lifespan. It's been proven if you're, and there are even human tests there, so that could be a superfood. But before I stretch it too far, I'm going to turn it over to our resident scientist because he's going to say that these claims aren't proven by the FDA, right?
Apparently, you can add mind reading to to the skills that C60 and C60 Evo impart. I love the phrase that it's the perfect carbon, right? So if you're watching, you're looking at a molecule that I'm holding up that looks like a soccer ball, where the lines on the soccer ball represent the bonds between the carbon atoms. Spherical molecule of 60 carbon atoms in the shape of a geodesic dome. That's why it was named after Buckminster Fuller. In terms of lifespan, yeah, there's certainly very strong research that suggests that if you're a Wistar rat, you can live 90% longer. That was peer-reviewed, published research. Often people, and in fact, when that research first came out, people started calling my lab and saying, hey, how much in a dose? We were a little kind of hesitant. We're conservative scientists, so we tried to stay out of the supplement industry for quite some time. And then finally, just the sheer number of people clamoring, the sheer number of positive testimonials for those who were kind of brave enough to be the original biohackers convinced us that this was an opportunity that we need to jump into. And then we met Patty, and Patty's such an amazing champion for carbon 60, and now really its latest form, its evolution into ESS 60. And that's what Patty has far and wide reaches, and that's how I end up on your show. And yeah, there's a lot of really good testimonials, and it is very true that the FDA has not evaluated our product, all of our products. They're not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. It's important to share that both from a legal aspect. So Patty and I would like to continue to do business, but just for your general consumer knowledge and where this sits in terms of the FDA's opinion of the scientific literature.
Right, but that doesn't stop Dr. Ben Carson. Dr. Ben Carson, I've been following him, and he was former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, who has come out with, I think he calls it an IQ pill. And I've been reading his page-long advertisements and comparing them with all of the attributes that carbon 60 gives you in terms of increased attention, increased IQ, intelligent quotient. And then, of course, he ends up with a big disclaimer at the bottom saying, this has not been approved by the FDA, nor, da 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 da. That's the standard language. And if you didn't know it, he would be selling. He would be promoting C60 Evo because his IQ pill is exactly the benefits that I have felt are exactly the benefits that come out from his IQ pill. And he was Secretary of Urban Housing and Urban Development, so he has some very famous names in that political wing that are endorsing it. But I'm not sure whether you've seen that, Patty, or not. But
I've seen everything. I'm such a news hound. I can't get enough.
yeah.
But I want to say that we bottle our top seller, which is the C60 Evo organic olive oil. It's extra virgin. It's the best you can find. And we source it from the same farm regularly so that we know what we're getting. But we put it into soft gels, into capsules. And we sold so many that we actually sold out. We didn't realize how well the capsules would sell because the olive oil does hold more ESS 60 than any other oil that we've tested in the lab. And I believe Chris and Robert have tested most of the oils to find that olive oil holds 0.8 milligrams per milliliters, which is the top. Avocado oil is slightly under at camera's backwards, it's so funny, at 0.6 milligrams per milliliters, and the coconut oil only holds 0.35 milligrams per milliliters, no matter how much you pour in it. So if you put in a ton of highly expensive raw powder that Chris and Robert make at the lab, they invented the original reactor machine 31 years ago, which I always like to brag. I have partners that are the originals that designed the actual machine. But I am so hooked now on the coconut oil in my morning coffee that I just pour and I pour. And when I think I've had enough, I look at it and I go, a little more. And it just gives me the most delicious coffee as well as a smoother buzz for me as a female. I kind of prefer the energy to the olive oil, but I know the olive oil is a lot stronger. So if you took a teaspoon or a tablespoon of the olive oil, you're going to take 2 or 3 tablespoons of the coconut oil, and you can see through the light how much is left of my bottle. I drink the stuff. I guzzle it in my coffee. And my older daughter, who every now and then needs a hangover helper, I try and get her to do the C60 Evo. And as soon as I gave her a bottle of the coconut oil, she loves it. So people that have a picky palate will probably prefer the delicious coconut oil ESS 60. And I want to elaborate briefly. I'm going to pretend to be the scientist because I've done enough shows with Chris now and a few with Robert. But ESS 60 is the evolution of C60. And in the world of C60 dealers, companies, manufacturers, you're going to see 95% or 97 or 99 or 99.9% of, purity of C60. And when you get to pure C60 without any other crap in it, you're going to have ESS 60, which Chris and Robert basically created a manufacturing process that is the cleanest, I think, possible. And it is the purest and most powerful potent C60 you're going to find. And ESS 60 stands for Elemental Safe Spears with 60 carbon atoms, like he showed you wrapped around the big buckyball. And safe is because it's been proven to be safe for human consumption, which a lot of other companies cannot claim.
Right. And there's an additional benefit, which is sleep. Perhaps you can talk about those studies. Have there been sleep studies, Chris, at all?
Yeah, well, we've driven our own studies, and so this was born out of uh, everything that we tend to talk about as benefits of our product are born out of what our customers have told us. So when we were initially selling this product line, we really didn't have any claims. We were just like, hey, there's this rat study. If you want to do this rat study, here's the stuff. And oh, by the way, we added not for human consumption in the early days because we were very conservative scientists and we didn't really want to kind of bump into any problems. This was despite the fact that the literature was very clear that it was safe. Again, just conservative scientists. We had been selling it to research institutions around the world for 20 some odd years, and just weren't comfortable in like, oh, how much do you consume of this? So we pushed that off as long as we could, and then even without any sort of marketing, people were coming to us and telling the benefits that they were experiencing when they take it on a regular basis, like improvements in hair, improvements in skin, and one of this most consistent testimonial was this improvement of sleep, right? So people typically take the product in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. I'm not aware of anything other than our product that you would consume in the morning and get better sleep that night. But that's what our customers were saying. And so we actually pushed forward. I got introduced to a guy, Benjamin Smaller. Actually, he was in a research paper recently I was just reading. I need to send him congratulations on that. But he worked with Oura Ring. So I'm holding up to the screen a ring that's on my index finger. And it's got sensors in it. You guys probably can't see those, but there's little sensors inside of that. It's keeping track of your heart rate, your pulse, your motion. It's keeping track of these things that can measure your sleep. It's one of the better sleep trackers on the market. Well, Benjamin is actually an associate professor at the University of California, San Diego, and a consultant for Oura Ring, and is working with Oura Ring with different pieces of data to understand how that Oura Ring can kind of relate to somebody's health or decisions that they need to make about their health, which is, I think a great burgeoning industry and is going to do really well moving into the future. He got pulled away because this ring has the ability, in some research papers have shown this, to kind of identify the fact that somebody might is feeling under the weather, right? So we've all had like that tickle the back of their throat. Well, there's telltale signs that this ring can actually show, and it was indicating to people before they realized that they were even sick, that they were going to get sick, and it was associated, in this case, over the last 2 years, is associated with COVID. And so he's been busy, obviously, with a lot of data, a lot of press over there, and we had to continue a study on our own. And that study wasn't important enough to us that we did continue it on our own. And what we did is, I'm actually holding up a chart for anyone who is watching. You've got really kind of the segmentation of three, and this is a survey study that we did. And basically, we had people give us survey data about their sleep 10 days prior to taking the product, 10 days on the product, 10 days off the product, and then 10 days back on the product. So really kind of a standard scientific protocol to get some good ideas about what is going on with this particular supplement. And the line on the right, which you'll notice, because you're not going to be able to see this very well, but what you will notice is that in every case, there were improvements in sleep, and there's kind of 4 rating systems. What is the overall sleep rating? How easy was it to fall asleep? How restless were you when you were sleeping? And on average, how did you feel the next day? And without exceptions, there's improvements when they're on the product each time. So the first 10 days, and then again on the second 10 days. And so this is a great study about how this supplement is helping people sleep. And the protocol in that study was, again, that they take it in the morning, which is incredibly unusual for any sort of supplement, medication, whatever. There's a $2 billion sleep aid industry of prescription drugs. And there's a book by a Dr. Matthew Walker called Why We Sleep. and it just goes in and shows all the scientific reasons that those particular prescription drugs are just horrible for your sleep. They may make you feel refreshed in the morning, but they do not allow you to get your REM and your NREM sleep at night, which is so paramount to your healing and being healthy on an ongoing basis.
Right. This gets down into the science, and of course, I am not a scientist, so I do not make any scientific pretensions at all. But I was having a conversation with a friend, and so I said, this is 157 times more powerful than vitamin C as an antioxidant, and that always shocks people because for them the first line of defense is always vitamin C. Boom. And so he said, "Oh, antioxidant vitamin C. Well, that means that I can see how this thing is churning along in your blood 157 times much more powerful than normal, and bringing the oxygen into your blood 157 times." And so that got me thinking. I mean, I haven't checked this out at all, but so I'm just going to ask you, and if you don't know, well, fine. So is one of the mechanisms of C60 scientifically that it starts the oxygenation in your blood to be 157 times more than the nearest neighbor, vitamin C. And so all of a sudden you've got this highly oxygenated blood, and that's why you're so bright and chippery and you can do all this stuff. Is that what's going on?
Well, I don't think that there's a correlation between being an antioxidant and the oxygenation in your blood. What
Okay.
is interesting about really the ESS60 molecule in our bodies, and this is actually related to topical applications and consumption, is that it's involved in angiogenesis. So it has the ability to help create additional blood capillaries to get blood moved to a particular area. This is why one of the reasons we believe it's effective as a facial serum. We're doing some tests as it relates to kind of hair growth and hair color. Those tests are very premature, but there's very good reason because of angiogenesis to believe that there's going to be improvements, because I think we all have this fundamental understanding that if we can get more blood flow to something, I mean, that's the body's natural response typically when we're injured, is to get more blood flow there. That's why there's swelling. That's why there's bruising. Well, bruising is more related to kind of burst capillaries, but that's why we get the swelling or turning red of those areas that have endured some sort of injury. And that's how the body heals itself. If we can continue to improve that blood flow because of angiogenesis, then this is a really good. That's why we're digging into kind of skincare further, and then potentially hair care even further.
And I want to give a personal testimonial about sleep, because mine has really increased. I did get that dreaded disease in December for Christmas, and I went through an interesting couple weeks where I got really sick, and I forgot to take my ESS60. I went 5 days, didn't even get up. I didn't even have coffee. And all of a sudden on day 6, I started doing my ESS60 and my coffee again. And I was like, oh my God, I've really been out of it that I totally forgot. And I also had an IV because I live in Boulder and we're all super trendy. And the new thing is these doctors that come to your house and they give you an IV of really proactive glutathione and different things to really heal the body. And I started really pumping more ESS60 coconut oil in my morning coffee. And in the afternoon, once in a while, I do a spoonful of the olive oil. And my sleep, I think I'm averaging 9 hours a night. I have never slept this hard. I barely get up other than to use the restroom, and boom, I'm back to sleep. But I'm dreaming again. Like for the first time since I was a child, I am dreaming. I wake up remembering my dreams. And I actually told Chris, I confessed one morning, it was such a good dream that I was like, no, I'm not getting up. I'm staying in the dream. And I'm like fighting, but I felt like I was so into my dreams again that I almost gained control of being able to work my dreams. So as
Right.
far as the sleep study and stopping and starting up again, kaboom, I really, really benefited.
Yeah. Yeah. Those lucid dreams can be something, right?
Woo, that was a fun one. And I want to say, speaking of lucid, you're in Bermuda shorts. You said Chris is obviously in Texas where it's all sunny. I put myself here at the cost of being a little darker skinned than both of you because I wanted you to see it's snowing here in Colorado. And even though it's like halfway through
Whoa.
February, I'm getting studded snows on my car right now during the show because I think we're going to have a very late winter. I'm just anticipating, that there will be more snow or they go in storage in a couple months. But the weather is so wacky. The politics are so wacky. Like you began the show with, my God, I mean, Canada is having historic change. Never before in history have you guys been tested emotionally like this. But we have to be so careful talking about even mental improvement and mental control. Amazon has been really making us mindful about every word that we say. So this is a product that's hard to talk about because the benefits are so great and so solid, but we have to be careful what we say now so we don't take the show down or they don't take the show down. I don't know if StreamYard is that much, but this is a product that speaks for itself and all of us are taking it, which I think when I write back snow, I basically say the proof is in the pudding. When you try it, you will know.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I, I can't now, I just want to say something that I had someone come up to me the other day, and I don't know if they were being cute or if they were trying to be a skeptic. And they said, "Oh, Alfred, you're just taking a placebo." And Chris knows what I'm talking about. That I'm dealing with the placebo effect. And so I was able to come back, and because I had drafted some documents from scientific studies show that C60 Evo is not a placebo, i.e., it's all in the mind of the person who takes it, because there are peer-reviewed scientific studies showing among large groups of people that there are demonstrated effects. But just to have a response that's not just from me who gave all of the arguments. Chris, would you give the scientific response to why C60 Evo is not a placebo?
Absolutely. So, first and foremost, if you look at it from like the FDA perspective, you would definitely like to have more human trials, right? And those are going to happen. In a sense, they're happening right now with your audience, with other audiences that we speak to, with all of our customer base. By the way, about 45% of our customers have stayed with us for about 22 months. I don't know how you convince somebody to stay on a placebo for 22 months, let alone 45% of your customers. I think that's one thing that I would share. Another is when we initially sold this, we sold it from directly out of our lab, and we sold it in unattractive, unmarketed, like there was no, hey, it's going to do all these amazing things for you. And so the placebo effect would kick in, and then people would come back and say, oh yeah, it did do all those things you said. We actually just sold it and said, hey, these rats live longer. You're calling us for it. Here it is. no claims, no suggestions of benefits they might experience. And during the years where we were selling the oil without any of the marketing or letting people understand what they might experience, is when we actually collected all of the experience from our customers. So this is really pre-placebo possibility, right? Another of my favorite kind of comments to people who are discussing the placebo effect is the popularity of our pet products. And what I love about pet products and pet testimonials is pets are not subject to the placebo effect, right? They don't have the mindset that we might have, right? That the placebo effect instills in humans, which is, I'm taking this is supposed to improve this, and therefore it does improve. Pets are like, I have taken food and I'm going to act like I want to act today. And if I have more energy, and it happens to be on the days when I've had my C60 Evo, then that's what my owner knows. That's not what I know. And so there is no opportunity for the placebo effect to have an impact on pets. And that's one of the reasons I love to have pet testimonials.
Right, right. Exactly. I thought that, I just had to lay that one to rest.
Yeah.
That was
Well, and
like
I think that's important. And I think, from the scientific perspective, we want more peer-reviewed published research. We want more placebo-controlled double-blind studies. We want those things to happen. The reality is this is just such a new cutting-edge technology, and those tests are expensive and are going to remain expensive. And so it's over time that at least us as a company are going to be able to invest in those studies and to make them happen.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little experiment here and put this up. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can you see? Because that's a link where people can go. And then there's a special code there, which if they use that code, they will get discounts. Patty, maybe you can talk about that code and those discounts.
Well, Chris was mentioning that 45 or 47% of our customers have stayed with us almost 2 years. And the benefit of that and the way we track it is through subscriptions. So when customers sign up for a monthly subscription, they get 20% off every order, which saves a lot of money. When you've got a $95 bottle of 4 ounces of this miracle molecule in extra virgin organic olive oil, it's going to be $75 instead. So saving 20% really helps. And for almost half of our customers to stay with us this long, it's a sign that, number one, they like the savings, but number one really is they like the product, because it's still not cheap, but it's cheaper than a huge stack of things that don't work, which so many people have all these supplements lined up that may or may not work, and they can't tell because they're doing 8 of them a day. You start taking C60 Evo organic olive oil, and you're going to notice it the first day. When I called Lee Dundas today, I said, so have you tried the product? And she said, oh, Patty, I'm working 20 hours a day. I barely sleep the 4, because she's been the lawyer for the whole Canadian trucker movement. And now she's working on the American one that's leaving in a week. She said, I'm not getting any sleep. I'm working so hard. And she talks really fast, as you know. So she said, in my front door, there's so many boxes, it looks like a post office. And I told my husband we need to start going through them. And I said, Lee, trust me, go for the white box with the blue round label that says C60 Evo, because it's going to help you get through your day better. It's going to help you with all your work. I guarantee it. So she's like, oh, okay. And she just moves so quickly. But I don't think there's anybody doing harder work right now to free all of us, to keep things moving forward. And I'm really proud of all of us. We've really been very proactive with the immediate future. And Alfred, you have made so much effort. You've done so many testimonials because you've been doing it, since the beginning of the company, because you and I go back 15 years, talking about crop circles and all the things that we've researched in the past. But I want to talk about the evolution of bringing some girly energy into this company of scientists that have been selling to research institutions around the world until a few years, probably 5-6 years ago now. And I showed up really early on because you and I were doing all these shows, and I started talking about C60. Not the good stuff, the ESS 60, but C60, which was the good stuff back then because all the companies were buying from Chris's lab pretty much. And so the products were good, but they were made in basements and garages that weren't very clean that I saw. So I started noticing that, the bottle, sometimes you get a little bit around the lid. So I'd start rubbing it on my face, I want to waste it. Or I see a little bit of leak on the table and I'll scoop it up and I'll put it on my face, but my skin started improving. And I always check my face on, on these shows because I rode a Harley for 10 years, no helmet, yes, gloves, no helmet, no sleeves. I rode hard and I got sunspots all over my face and they have gone away. And I just kept putting the oil on. And then I asked the guys if I could create a facial serum. And so the formulator for the lab is this brilliant woman. And we created 21 natural and vegan ingredients, all natural, C60 Evo Advanced Facial Serum. And this is a huge seller, huge. You can see my bottle is running low because I use it all the time. And I started, Chris mentioned, hair, and we're going to perfect our products to be really effective for, getting gray out of hair. But with being sick like I was, I couldn't believe the change. Yeah, yours is fuller than mine. But what's funny is men love it. And
yes.
Michael Jaco rubs it on his bald head. I mean, it's kind of fun seeing men go for it. Oh, Chris, taking a bath. And the coolest thing is, okay, so we've got this thing that people love, but then the lab of guys creates this fantastic box to deliver it in. I mean, this is so cool. Revive, replenish, rejuvenate. Every product comes nice enough to be a gift. I mean, you don't even have to wrap them. They come in really nice packaging. And then my mom, 92, says, yeah, the facial serum is as good as my highly expensive stuff, but what it did for my lips was incredible. So my mom's like giving me a lip testimonial. So I called the lab and I said, can we do lips? So now we've got these two products, C60 Evo Lip Renewal, and I love the mint. We also have unflavored for people who don't like, oh, Chris is our model today. The lip renewal that's mint is peppermint, and it is so yummy. You can smell it because it's close enough to your nose, but you can also taste it. That's the hardest thing. It tastes good, it smells good, so you got to not lick it off. But it really moistens your lips. So now we've got the full body package with the facial serum, the inside remedy, and the lip renewal. And my mom, 92, just had surgery a couple weeks ago, maybe 10 days. And I called her at the hospital the day of surgery, not thinking she could speak, and the doctor says, oh, she's sucking ice chips. Call her in an hour in her room. So I gave her a call and I said, Mom, how you doing? She said, I couldn't believe she was even finishing sentences, but here's what she said. Oh, I'm doing really well. And you'll never believe what I brought to the hospital. My facial serum and my lip formula. And I mean, I'm like, Mom, you're medicated. What are you doing talking about my products? That's how good they are. I was really proud. I was just like, wow, that's impressive.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Well, it has totally opened up my life, and I love getting notices. I just got a huge notice yesterday and today of two different books. It said from Amazon, it said Alfred Webre has a new book out, and there's this beautiful notice that Amazon is sending around about Alfred Weber's new book. They sent one out yesterday and they sent one out today. And believe me, I mean, those books were fueled by carbon 60. They must have been fueled by, I haven't gotten to the science yet, and I'm hoping that you have papers that will explain to us what the science is that is bringing in that additional intelligence, that or drive or insight. I'm not sure, because people like us who are kind of word book people, it's like, like you can feel, you pull up to a gas station. Well, what do you want? Regular or high test? No, give me high test.
Well, you have put out more than anybody I know your age. When's your birthday?
May 24th, and that's Bob Dylan's birthday. That's Queen Victoria's birthday, which is in the entire British Commonwealth of all the nations around the world. That's the official Queen's birthday. So it's an official holiday. So traditionally, all around the world, all these nations celebrate my birthday. What can I tell you? It's a great incarnation.
Well, I think what's amazing is the production that you put out. Do you want to say how old you're going to be on your birthday?
Oh, we're going to have a beautiful 80th birthday.
80.
Yeah, 80. And my stepdaughter turned 50 last week, so we gave her a big birthday also. So what can I say?
I just think your production level for somebody almost 80 is a testimonial in itself.
Well, we're just starting. Let me tell you.
Uh-oh.
Look out, world.
Yep.
That's awesome. And speaking of testimonials, I actually picked one before we got on air. This is from Brooke Ginn. I love my C60 Evo, both the internal and face serum. Finally, something that I put on my face that I can actually see makes a big difference in my skin. So I trust that what is going on inside my body is as great or more than I can see on my face.
There you go.
Isn't that phenomenal?
Yeah. So, it has multiple applications, and it really transforms. I mean, this is my testimonial, but it transforms the quality of your life, and there are very few things that I think you can say that it transforms your life and is healthy.
Right.
Because there's so many things that people say, oh, I love this, but then it's not healthy, but this transforms your life and is healthy. So
when you sleep better, you wake up happier. When you sleep deeper, you have better days, more energy naturally. But when you toss and turn all night, you kind of wake up tired.
Yeah.
So I have found, though, that very rare anymore that I get up in the middle of the night, but I had one of those a couple days ago. And I just poured extra C60 Evo in my coffee. And then I probably did a shot of the olive oil during the day. And I forgot that I had gotten up at 2:30. And I was trying to get back to sleep, and I just couldn't. My brain was banging, but it had been weeks since I had had a night where I got up and I thought, well, I haven't done this in a long time, and I've got a lot on my mind. I think that I was never intellectual until I started making films and going to England and being in the crop circles around all those English people in Glastonbury and Avebury that were really high intellect. And they had really messy homes, lots of spider webs. They don't waste their time cleaning their cars and buffing them up. Instead, they were really more about the earth and their intellect. And I think that the Evo has really helped me keep up because it's really sparked my brain to stay strong.
Very good. Very, very good. I see that we're coming up to the 40-minute mark, and that generally is a good time because we are putting out a huge amount of information now. And I know that people, I think, now are saying, yes, right?
Yeah.
So they can go to that link right there. And that is the code that they can use. And I think with subscriptions, they can even get what, a 30% discount?
Yeah, the first order is 30% off, and it helps to support Alfred's channels, his numerous books, his work. But every time anybody uses his code, which is his 3 initials and the first 2 of Evo, EV, ALW, if people don't even go to the link, they just go to the website, c60evo.com. As long as they pump in your personal code, EV, ALW, they will get a discount at checkout. So the best deals are 20% off on a subscription, which is monthly. And if you don't love it, you just write us an email, you call the lab and you say, I don't want it anymore, and we cut you off. I mean, it's not any obligation, but if you love it, like most people do, you'll save 20% every time. And at the checkout, his initials and the EV in the beginning, you'll save another 10% off whatever it is you buy. The other discounts that we have wonderful gift sets where you can buy a bottle of oil, a bottle of serum, and you'll save 15% on the 2 of them. Or you can do the 2 flavors of lip balm. That's called the Inside and Out set, or the Inside and Out and Lips set, and you'll save 15%. So you can either buy a set, you can buy gifts, and you'll get a discount that way. It's 15% off what would be the retail price. There's a dog lover set, one for you, one for your dog. So we do a lot of package deals, which you can find on the store. The best deal is if you find a few friends or you want to stock up, you can buy a case and you get 25% off. And a lot of people do that. They pick 2 friends and they say, let's each get 4 bottles. And, you can share it that way and save 25% off, which is a really nice discount. And if you do that and use his EVALW at checkout, you'll get 35% off. So that's a big deal. And then you'll be stocked up for a while. So you won't want to do a subscription. You want to do a case. And we're finding a lot of people that are worried about grocery stores shutting down or truckers not delivering, whatever, they're stocking up anyway. So it's, it might be a nice idea to stock up on something that works.
There you go. There you go. Okay, Chris, do you want any words of wisdom to our viewers?
Well, in terms of this may be a little bit self-serving, but I will share a word of wisdom. When we finally decided that we were going to start selling this as a supplement, it is also about the time that I started taking it on a more regular basis. And it still would end up the case that I could end up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm yawning and thinking that I need another cup of coffee or a nap or both. And I could always look back and realize that I hadn't taken my C60 Evo formula that morning. And it was really when I incorporated it into my schedule, really my coffee routine, that now I don't have that issue anymore. So my routine is just like Patty, I'll put the MCT oil in my coffee. It's kind of a bulletproof coffee recipe situation where I'm adding some ghee and blending that up. While that's blending, I'm taking 1.5 teaspoons of our olive oil product. And actually, I do at my house have the face serum, and that's going on actually back at the house. I take about 1.5 teaspoons, which is a little bit more than the recommended serving, but we have the luxury, and we actually have people who've noticed a difference on taking a little bit more. And then for lunch, I'll usually have a salad, and I'll usually put the avocado oil on my salad. So that's part of my routine. That's happening daily, and it really has had a positive impact on my energy level in the afternoon.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And thank you both, Patty and Chris, for all the work that you're doing, bringing this very, very powerful superfood to all of us so that we can go forward and do our missions, which is so important.
Thank you,
please, stay on so we can schedule our meeting again. And thank you very much to all who will be listening and watching us. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.